Hi, I'm Tiffany.
And I'm Rhianna, and welcome back to Fresh Off the Broke.
Fresh Off the Broke is about personal experiences from Asian American in a predominantly white community, Asian media, and Asian pop culture in general. Race has always been a sensitive topic. Every day there's debates over race. With our podcast, we intend to shed light on the experiences of first-generation Asian immigrants, not put them on a pedestal.
We understand that race isn't everything, but there should be an acknowledgement of people of color, the knowledge gap, and the racial divide that will ideally be broken. Now that that's out of the way, let's get into the episode. Today's topic is living with your Asian parents.
Is it cheesy to say it's a doozy? This episode is, this topic is something that's discussed a lot and is thought about a lot among Asian kids and just like the Asian community, especially, I want to say, the Asian diaspora. Have you ever mentioned this on podcast before? But the word diaspora.
A little triggering for us.
Yeah, and we don't mean that in like a... I don't know where I was going with that. But it's a little bit of a trigger word for us.
Yeah.
And we don't mean that in like an insensitive way.
No, like genuinely.
Mm-hmm.
But we will laugh about it, so.
Yeah, and we apologize.
Yeah.
Anyways, this topic is something that, like I said, is discussed a lot and like thought about a lot among, especially like Asian American or like Asian Canadian or just like the Asian diaspora.
Yeah. I mean, we can't not use the word.
Mm-hmm. And with the time that this episode is coming out, it's the holiday season. And when people think of the holiday, you kind of inevitably connect it to family.
Mm-hmm.
Because especially during the winter time and the holiday season, it's supposed to be seen as like cozy time, like you're winding down, sitting by a fireplace or something.
Really
you
painting
think of
the picture.
Cookies, hot chocolate, or like warm soup. And
soup.
then family, spending time with family, whether it's like going back home, whether it's spending time with the people at your home.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just supposed to be like a warm, fuzzy, nice time. However, I mean, okay, so this episode isn't necessarily debunking that or just like completely talking about the opposite of that, but this episode is kind of talking about the reality of that situation, especially for the Asian community and Asian students, especially our personal experiences with that and how it can differ or be similar to the whole like, oh, it's winter time, I can't wait to spend time with my family.
So we found, just with our own experience and hearing what people say, and it's just like a generally like a known thing or like a running joke, that the main difference between living with white parents, if you're white, and living with your Asian parents, if you're Asian, is that ethnic and immigrant kids pay rent in mental health. That's their price to pay for having a home, essentially. And I know I just said Asian parents, but again, like ethnic and immigrant kids applies to like all groups, because I think this is an easy thing to generalize.
Yeah, for sure. I've heard this a lot amongst friends and also just online. I mean, a while back, I saw a clip, I think it was a podcast clip or just like a group of people talking together.
Just friends hanging out.
Oh, no, that's not what I meant. I heard what I said just now, and I was like, and it was me saying how I heard it on a podcast, or maybe it was just a group of people talking to each other,
Oh.
which I guess that can be a podcast, right?
Yeah.
A podcast or two people talking to each other. Is that not us?
Us
Anyway,
for real.
I saw a video, I think it was a podcast clip, and someone said like this exact thing of how immigrant kids, because of the expectation that you should stay home and stuff, you save money on rent, but you pay for rent in mental health. And that really resonated with me.
I
because
mean,
that's how I feel.
yeah. Nothing comes for free, and it's very evident. And I'm sure a lot of people can relate to that as well.
Comment down below if you also pay rent in mental health. Comment down below if you pay rent and money.
Yeah, how much is
Lame.
your rent?
I'm kidding. I'm kidding. I'm kidding. I'm sorry. This is me coping.
At least you're aware.
You know those would you rather games?
Mm-hmm.
Would you rather pay rent in money or mental health should be a question.
What's your answer to that question?
Money.
Mm.
What's your answer to the question?
Well, I guess, okay, this kind of alludes to what our answers will be on like our own personal experience. But I think since I've been paying in mental health this entire time, I'll just continue that so I can use my money to buy more items of my choosing. I don't know why I had to say it so big, but yeah. But we'll get into that. We'll get into our reasons.
Yeah, we'll get into it. And why we have opposite answers.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, I also find that generally, whenever I talk to people about, or people talk to my friends who want to move out, there's this like general thought process that follows a very like circular path, cyclical path. Is it a path if it's still a circle? I don't know, but it's a circle. So obviously it starts with
that pause.
what?
I mean, let us know.
Oh,
the pause, because you said it's what did you say? A cyclical. I can't pronounce. A cyclical path, and then there was a pause. And you're like, is it a path if it's a circle? I wasn't expecting that pause.
Oh, that's what you said.
It was kind of funny.
Thank you. I'm known for my comedic timing.
You are a comedian.
Ew. Okay. Anyways.
What do you mean, ew? What are you trying to say about? Don't we have an episode honoring our Asian comedian?
Yeah, we do.
Are you taking that back?
Apparently. I take back the John Mulaney part.
Oh, yes.
Watch that episode to get that reference. Anyways. Okay. This cyclical path or cyclical cycle.
This cycle.
The cycle. Yeah, that's the word I'm looking at. Oh my god. Guys, it's late, okay? Please. Okay. But yes. This cycle starts out with, oh, I really need to move out. And then this person will look at their options and say, like, do I have enough money? I don't really have enough money, or I'll be tight on money, because generally, like, if they have enough money to move out, they would move out as soon as possible, you know. But you know, looking at money, money situation not that good. But then again, I won't be living with my parents. And I think like these people generally think like even though I'll be tight on money, it'll be worth every penny being away from home and not near my parents. And then it goes back to I don't know if my parents will even let me move out. Like logistically, how will this work? How will I move out and be allowed to? And then it goes into like, at the end of the day, why do I care? I should just move out. I'm my own person. I can move out if I want to. And then depending on how that goes, it's always like, but money, but no parents, but how would I do that? But still no parents. And then it just keeps going and going and going. And generally, there is no moving out.
Yeah, for
From
the
what
most
I've seen.
part, it's pretty unfortunate. I mean,
It is.
if we're talking about from a general standpoint, or yeah, from a general standpoint, if you compare when Asian kids move out versus when like Western kids, like white kids move out, it's very different. I mean, there's almost an expectation that you move out when you're going to college, or that it's super common to move out
Yeah.
if you're
Even
like a
like by
Westerner.
18, you're out.
And I mean, a lot of that definitely comes from the fact that there isn't really filial piety,
Uh-huh.
because in a culture or in cultures where there's filial piety, that plays into whether or not I guess you can really move out. Because then if you move out, how are you gonna take care of me?
Yeah.
Or are you gonna come back? Are we gonna come with you?
It's like you're just gonna leave me.
Don't say that. Please don't say that to me right now.
Sorry, triggering. My bad.
I am only partially kidding. And a lot of times, Asian kids do end up moving out a lot later if they do at all. Because I mean, I'm just thinking of one of my cousins. He moved out pretty late. And then I have this cousin that moved out, and she's like married and they have a kid, but they're at some point in the near future actually are going to move to a new house and then share that house with her parents,
Yeah, it's always
which
like,
I could never do. And
yeah.
I'll get into that.
It's always if you move out, like you're taking us with you. Or like
Or even just eventually, we're coming back together.
it's not even like you're moving out at that point. It's just we're moving houses.
Yeah, basically.
Yeah. And personally, I know that in like traditional Filipino culture, which I can speak for, like you there is no moving out until you are married. Like you're not supposed to move out until you're married. And if you do, it's heavily frowned upon, as I can
There's a
see in
lot of
my own
that.
family. Yeah, yeah. Um, like my cousin moved out with her boyfriend. They've been together for like 10 years. So like no, they've been together for more than that, you know? And they're like very independent and high functioning adults in society, which like what do you expect from like why should they be living at home still, you know? Like they have money to move out, they've been together for a very long time, like they are planning on getting married, they're just too busy to get married. And yet there was all this buzz with all the like aunties and uncles in the family, like, oh, did you hear they're moving out together? Like they're not even married yet. It's like they've been together for over 10 years. Like, what more do you want? They also have very successful jobs too. Like, so annoying.
Moving out definitely is viewed in different ways
Mm-hmm.
here, and or just like in the West, it's seen more like becoming independent and living on your own for the first time. I don't know, like coming into your own as an adult.
Uh-huh.
And then for like Asian cultures, it's also seen as being independent, but being independent in a bad,
Yeah.
it's selfish.
Yeah. It's like, oh, something, they must have issues at home.
Mhm. Or just how could they leave their parents?
Yeah. Like issues at home, aka the kid has issues. Nothing
Mhm.
wrong with the parents. The poor
No.
parents, if anything.
Mhm.
So awful.
Yeah. And I mean, another thing that kind of plays into it that I've seen people don't talk about it a whole lot, which kind of sucks because I think it's pretty important and also a really prominent thing amongst a lot of Asian cultures is the way that Asian parents coddle their children, especially their sons.
Mm-hmm.
That's like one of the major reasons or one of the major things that kind of plays into this whole not moving out thing because
Mm-hmm.
oh my goodness, the way that I mean this is a universal thing that some people have never held a broom in their life. Their parents do everything for them, blah blah blah.
Mm-hmm.
But with Asian parents, some of them coddle they will coddle their children, especially their sons, in a way where it's like you're making them dependent on you, or they're
Mm-hmm.
making their children dependent on them, and it's like, how could you even live without me? Like you wouldn't even know how to do this or
Yeah.
that. And it's really unfortunate. Ash like it makes me sad to think about and talk about and also to see just
Yeah.
because it's so frustrating. It's so they're instilling this sense of I don't mean to get all like like illogical here or whatever, but
Mm-hmm.
like learned helplessness and everything.
Yeah, yeah.
And
That's
that's
triggering.
almost even it's like reverse filial piety.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's almost like you need me, not I need you.
Oh God. Very like icky to think about.
And then that results in their kid that's very much not a kid age, not knowing
Grown
how to
man.
do not foundational, fundamental adult things.
Yeah. Like, don't know how to use a washing machine. Don't know how to make food for myself. Oh my God, that reminds me. Okay, I think this was half a joke. I really hope it was, but I have a friend who, oh my God, he is an Asian boy and very much so what you were just talking about. And he moved like in university, he moved to a city like relatively far, maybe like 2 hours away from where he used to live for his parents. And we were talking and I was just being like, oh, like, how are you gonna adjust to moving like so far away from home, or like far enough that like you're not close, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And he was like, "Oh, like I'm coming back every weekend." And I was like, "Every weekend? Like, what's the point of you moving out so far then? Like, if you're gonna come back home, like, what are you gonna do back home every weekend for 2 days? Like, that seems a little bit like, first of all, how are you gonna get home and get back there? Like, are your parents dropping you off and picking you up, you know? Or like, are you taking transit? Like, that's a lot of money." And he said, like, I hope it was as a joke. He was like, "Yeah, like, how am I supposed to do my laundry? My mom's gonna do that for me."
Oh, that is not a joke. That is not a joke.
I have never been more appalled at a statement.
That
And
is,
like,
he is not the only one.
it's so like, oh my God, you pig. You are gonna hoard all of your clothing and come home every weekend for your mom to do it. And the worst part about it is like, you know that mom is like, "Yeah, I do my son's laundry." You know, like they're proud of it.
Mm-hmm.
Ugh. And it's only boys.
I don't think you realize how normal or normalized that is. You don't realize that. Because here's the thing.
It's wishful thinking. I
Even
wish it wasn't.
before you brought the laundry thing, I was gonna, after you finish telling your story, tell you that I have a friend who's a girl that is like that. But I honestly, laundry included, actually, I'm pretty sure. Because she also moved out for university and she comes back every weekend. And this is, I mean, like, your life is your life. But the thing is, she was so adamant on being like super far away, and it was such a, what's the word, like a battle
Mm-hmm.
in order to be able to do so. But then she is utterly incapable of living on her own. And here's the thing, she's not living on her own until like she fully moved out, has an apartment somewhere. She lives in, like, she lives on residence of her university with her friend and another person, like roommates, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And so she's not completely alone, but she's utterly incapable of dealing with the consequences of this decision. Like, she'll complain to me about how she doesn't have any friends at the school, and then complain to me about living away. And okay, I mean, that's normal, it happens.
Mm-hmm.
But for you to have wanted so badly, or to like want to prove so badly that you can do it, to then,
Not be able to.
yeah. And the thing is, her friend, that's her roommate, is even worse.
Oh
Because
God.
her friend, that's her roommate, fought her parents so hard, so hard. Let me say that one more time. So hard to go away to the school. And she is also utterly incapable. And here's the thing, not only is she utterly incapable, she complains and cries to her parents like all the
Yikes.
time. And I
Yikes.
mean cries. I'm not just saying that. About how hard it is, or how homesick, or like this, that, and the other thing.
Mm-hmm.
And so you guys fought, and you quote unquote won, but you are losing.
Yeah. You just
I do not.
proved the parents' points.
Yeah, exactly. I'm not saying that you should lie, but if that was me, no way would I. Oh my god, my friend threw up and then called.
Oh my God.
It was it was a genuine mom I just threw up moment. And here's the thing,
Virtual.
you can do that. If you are lost and you don't feel well or you just want some help, definitely call your support system.
Uh-huh.
I support that and I would do that too. Not to call my mom and be like, I just threw up. I would never do
I
that.
threw up.
But come on, especially given those two circumstances,
Yeah.
how they were so adamant being like, I can do it. Or you don't know anything. I I'm gonna go and I can do it. At least maybe try a little. I like they didn't. Neither of them prepared themselves for life moving out or the. I don't know if I want to say solo living because they're not living alone, but
Mm-hmm.
for the solo living life and the responsibilities that you would have to take care of
Uh-huh.
now that you live away from your parents.
Mm-hmm.
And the thing is, the person I was saying that complained to me about having no friends, they say that constantly. And then they also don't try to make friends. So I'm just a little confused because it just seems like a you're you have this issue, but then you like don't want to solve it.
Uh-huh.
Cause and I don't mean that in like a antisocial. I don't know if I want to say antisocial, but it's not like they have trouble socially making friends. It's more they just don't want to
Uh-huh.
try, but then they complain about not having any. And
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how I'm supposed to respond to that.
What do you want?
And I just feel like those two people, their experience or this whole like their story speaks volumes about the privilege of being able to move out for
Mm-hmm.
them, especially because they are also Asian. They're also Asian kids. And the fact that they were able to move out and I have not been able to move out, which like we'll talk about
Uh-huh.
later on in the episode. But they were able to move out and I was not. But they did no preparation whatsoever, whether that be like mentally, whether that be in terms of financially or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
They just did none of that. They just moved out and then they're struggling and they're complaining. They're just admitting defeat essentially to their
Yeah.
parents, but they're not coming back. What do you want? I don't what?
It's
I
like,
just
what
don't get
did you
it.
expect? Like,
And it's frustrating on my side just because I feel like I would never do that.
mm-hmm.
If I had the ability or if I actually could have made it out, I I mean I have been preparing, but you know what I mean? It's just
Yeah.
I just sometimes I can't help but feel like not necessarily that I deserve it more than they do, but I just would have done it so much differently and
Mm-hmm.
maybe they shouldn't have done it in at the time that they did
Uh-huh.
because they weren't prepared. Like maybe I just think that they should have well prepared and then maybe done it at a later time
Mm-hmm.
or prepared and then just had done it
Mm-hmm.
in the time they did do it.
Yeah. I mean, like, I guess in that sense, you could argue like those types of people do need to learn how to be independent. Like they do need to move out and realize like have this shock of being like, oh my God,
Oh yeah, yeah.
this is actually what it's like, you know?
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
So
Like they didn't.
good.
I guess they didn't realize
Yeah.
how nice they had it.
Yeah. And I think that like that really highlights the difference in the types of people living with their parents because there's people like that and there's people who are essentially fully independent but living at the house and then having someone like berate them for their every breath, like
That sounds a little. too familiar.
Yeah. So like there is that privilege that you said. And it's just interesting to look at, like, because there's a lots of people who talk all this talk of, oh, I need to move out like really badly, like it'll solve all my problems, and then they move out and it's like, oh no,
I
mom,
don't
can you
even
help
know how to,
me?
I don't know what is laundry.
Yeah,
I don't know how to cook. I
like,
don't know
yeah.
how to, oh yeah, my friend does not know how to cook.
Hopefully she has a meal plan.
In exchange, she does the dishes, but she does not know how to cook.
It's upsetting to hear about. I think it's interesting that I'm talking about this because as much as like I do understand and like I fully get it and I hear it and like all my friends want to move out and all this, like I understand. I personally am not that type of person. And but it's not that like I'm aware that I wouldn't be able to live alone because I fully could. Like I cook for myself, I clean myself, like clean myself, clean up after myself. I
I
do
mean,
clean myself.
I
Um
would hope so.
yeah. Imagine if I was like, ugh, who cleans themselves? But
Oh goodness.
like I'm fully capable of living independently, but I don't want to. I
That's fair. Fair enough.
I I get homesick very, very easily. And I think that like I I'm lucky in that I am able to get homesick and miss my parents and stuff like that. Like,
Mm-hmm.
and I very lucky to have that because I know that that's like the main reason as to why people want to move out in the first place. Um, but yeah, honestly, like I
I've never
was,
been homesick a day of my life.
oh,
I've never been homesick ever when I
I
was
have.
away.
I am very peculiar child. Um, I'm very resistant to change in general. So like
Mm-hmm.
just
That's
characteristic
normal. A
of
lot of
me.
people are that way.
Yeah. But like it's almost to the point where I was faced with the option of moving out for university, and I realized that I do have issues with change. And maybe I should move out because it would teach me a lot of things and like it would force me to make friends, like out and be outside of my comfort zone. But no, I am not gonna do that because I don't want to. Um, yeah, so it's interesting because like I hear everything and I understand and I agree sometimes, but personally I don't think for my own sake it would be easier for me to stay at home. And again, that's that I'm like very lucky to be able to say that. And I'm very
Mm-hmm.
grateful. Um
Mm-hmm.
but yeah, I'm just very resistant to change.
Rhianna's gonna continue her mental health payment.
Yeah, I will continue paying with mental health even though it doesn't even exist for me at this point in time. But that's okay because you know what? More money for miscellaneous items. Yeah. What about you? You said you said money without hesitation.
Yes, no without hesitation. I would do it right now. I
Mm-hmm.
actually could if I really. So here's the thing. I have the means to do it, but they would never let me right now.
Mm.
I I think it would cause a lot more like it would cause additional problems to the ones
Yeah.
that we already have.
Yeah. Like that's not worth it.
Yeah. And so that is why I have not yet. I
Mm-hmm.
desperately want
Mm-hmm.
to paint a picture. And so when we plan these episodes, we write up outlines, we write up ideas, things like that. And under a point about Rhianna and I sharing our own personal experiences or our outlook on it, under my own name, I wrote nothing but "get me out."
Mm-hmm.
I hope that paints a pretty picture for you.
Yeah.
In watercolor or acrylic or whatever medium of your choosing,
Mm-hmm.
it is "get me out." And I stand by that. I have felt that way for as long as I can remember.
Mm-hmm.
It is not, I mean, I understand why someone could listen to this and think, oh, it's just a phase, or it's just, I don't know, maybe she's being an angsty.
Mm-hmm.
But no, I can assure you that I have felt this way for as long as I can remember. For, I want to say, since I was in elementary school, which is really bad.
That's very young.
Yeah, it's very bad. But that's the truth.
Mm-hmm.
I pay a lot in mental health,
Mm-hmm.
and it's to the point where I'm trying to think of a way to describe this or to visualize this. So let's just say that it was a tank of gas and I pay by I don't know, pouring out the gas. I don't have enough gas every day to pour. And I don't know where to go to loan gas to keep paying.
Mm.
And it's very draining.
Mm.
And I mean, I've mentioned this in past episodes, how I basically mentally live as if I live by myself.
Uh-huh.
And I'm sure that says a lot. Whatever it is, keep it to yourself.
Yeah.
But I think it's pretty clear that I would want to leave, and I have wanted to leave for as long as I can remember. And
Mm-hmm.
sometimes I do very much get jealous of people that can, especially the one, like, I have gotten jealous at my Western, like, white counterparts that can easily move out.
Mm-hmm. And are
Whether,
supported.
yeah, and it's seen as such a positive thing, and then they're just out here living their best life, and
Mm-hmm.
then they're super happy. And I'm also jealous of, for instance, those two people I was just talking about, because they were able to leave, but then they don't even understand the privilege that they had to be able to leave. And so I just get frustrated because I have been waiting for this moment my entire life,
Mm-hmm.
essentially. And I would never treat that opportunity or take that opportunity for granted the way that they are right now.
Mm-hmm.
Because I, like Rhianna, I can take care of myself, and so I'm perfectly capable of actually doing it.
Mm-hmm.
And so with that knowledge, it's frustrating to see that situation.
Yeah. And also like the fact that they are able to call their parents again after what used to be such a big deal about moving out.
Yeah, and then especially the girl telling you that and crying to her parents, the parents like, oh, you can come home or like come home and it's okay, come home and maybe study somewhere closer by, like
Mm-hmm.
study at a local university that's not so far away. Like
Uh-huh.
study at a university in the city that we're in or in the state that we're in rather than over here or whatever.
Uh-huh. Like some people, when they make the decision to move, they are no long like moving means completely different trajectory path of life. Like you are not welcome back here because your decision to move means you do not want us anymore. Therefore, like it's over. Like cutting ties right now.
Yeah, and I mean, if I were to move right now, it would probably cause a conflict that big.
Uh-huh, yeah. And like that's not as much as it would be worth it, like as of right now, like that's just too much to deal with, like too many issues for like
I don't
living
even
a
have
life.
gas for the day-to-day things.
Yeah, like it's a tough situation.
Hmm.
But then again, I do find a lot of humor and entertainment in people taking the advice of like, because especially on social media, you see all this like, whatever you think, like you have depression or all this, like, and then you move out and you realize that, oh no, it's just because I was living with my parents. Have you seen those posts?
Yes.
Like, okay, those posts, I'm sure there's truth to that for specific people. But then like there are people who clearly like are so reliant on living with their parents. And then they're like, oh my God, so true. And they move out and it's just like, oh my God, I can't do this anymore. You know, like I think
Hmm.
that's entertaining. Um, which my bad for but like, you know, like it's at least there's some form of entertainment, but at the same time, it's so like you have the privilege of moving out, and then you have the privilege of like righting your wrongs and then coming back home and apologizing or like being accepted back home.
Hmm. Yeah, I mean, think about those parents. They're like, it's okay, come home. You don't have to
Yeah.
study there, or you don't if your major is too hard. Because here's the thing, that girl, she was complaining about how hard her major was, and then she just was hating everything, like living away, and that girl fought 50 times harder to move out. And here's the thing, I know that girl. I've known her for years, and I know her parents, and her parents are super supportive parents,
Uh
and they wanted her to go to a nearby school, and she really didn't want to, and it created this like a lot of conflict between them.
mhm.
And they're supportive parents, and so the fact that they're just and you think about it, they're supportive parents, they're loving parents, and so for them to have to see and hear her cry every day, I'm sure that hurts them,
Yeah.
and then it also hurts her, and blah blah blah. Blah. And I just
Must be
as a,
nice.
yeah, I I don't know, guys, y'all, maybe a few episodes, insert number of episodes in, we'll have an episode where I come out and give a life update saying, "Hey, so I'm moving out."
Hell yeah. That'd be great.
New video, apartment hunting with me.
That'd be so cute.
Apartment tour. Okay, I actually would have no issue with us doing an apartment decorating video.
Oh my god.
I would fully create a nook or just I guess depending on the size of the apartment I have. If there's a guest room or just a small space somewhere, I would make a fob corner. And then that could be where we record.
Hell yeah.
Wouldn't that be so cute?
That would be cute.
Mm-hmm. And the thing is, what you were saying about the what was it? You were saying how there was those posts where they say
Oh, it's
you
like
think you. Mm-hmm,
you have issues or you think you're depressed, but then you move out and then everything heals itself
mm-hmm,
because it's your parents, it's the issue.
mm-hmm. I I don't know. I guess maybe they're not wording it properly or they're overgeneralizing, because the thing is, I am 150% certain that I guess the magnitude of my mental issues would not be as strong if I wasn't constantly around what triggers it or what
Uh-huh.
triggers them.
Uh-huh.
But they wouldn't just disappear. I think there's probably a simplification, like an oversimplification happening there.
Oh yeah, for sure. Like it's not it's just general.
Yeah,
And
yeah, yeah,
also
yeah.
like even in that case, like I do agree that that is like a pretty accurate statement for people like you, but there are people who that statement does not apply at all.
No, of course. I mean, people. I mean, there are a lot of people that use those terms very liberally
Yeah.
and inappropriately. I just stopped. Sorry. There are people that use those terms very liberally and very inappropriately, and I guess my interpretation or how I read or how I would read that statement is very different from how they would, because it's
Yeah, yeah, for sure.
more so. I thought it was sad. I
Mm.
think people use sad, and I guess they just don't think it's a strong enough word, and so they just jump to depressed.
Mhm.
One day, guys,
Yeah. Look
one
forward
day
to
I'll
that
move
day.
out. It's really tough out here. I don't like it here. And okay, I mean, I didn't really give a whole lot of details because y'all don't need to hear that,
Yeah, yeah.
and I don't really want to tell you all that.
Uh-huh.
But if anyone's concerned about my well-being, do not, I was gonna say don't fret, which sounds very funny. Don't worry about me. I I mean I have my support system, blah blah. I I sound like I'm not taking this seriously. I'm so sorry. This is what it's like. I have my I'm able to leave the house from time to time
Mm.
for work and whatever. So it's not like I'm always trapped here. And then, like I was saying, I do have my support system and like my friends, and I have Rhianna and this
Oh my god, that's
podcast.
me.
I wasn't expecting you to say that. Especially not in the way you said it. But yeah. Because of the above, I am all right. I don't know. I'm not okay, but I'm all right.
Yeah.
I
Managing.
Yes, I'm managing, and I mean, I mentally live on my own, so for the most part, I'm already just blocking them out. And okay, here's the thing. I At the beginning of I guess at the beginning of this story, I mentioned how me moving out right now would add to a lot of or add additional problem.
Mhm.
Excuse me, to the ones that we already have. Before you go and tell me to just go and solve them, please understand that 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 those are not the type of, those are not the types of people they are. My parents are not those types of people. They're the type of people that ref- so they're resistant to change too,
Mm,
but in a very different way.
yeah.
It's when you tell someone that they're doing something that bothers you or something that really hurts you, or you're just trying to address these issues that we have,
Uh-huh.
they just say things such as, "That's the way I am," or
Mm,
"I'm too old to change. I'm not
mm,
going to change. I will never change." You can't, there's not a lot to work with.
yeah.
There, and also when you hear things like that for years and years and years and years and years and years and years, I think it's pretty clear that maybe rather than trying to force them to change or trying, because I have on I don't even know how many occasions tried to have very mature conversations with them about this, and it never goes well. It always results, or that's always their response, or it just
Mhm.
escalates and then becomes a disaster.
Yeah.
And so I truly think, or I truly believe that solution for me is to just move out. And
Yeah,
that's
for
not to
sure.
say that I'll never speak to them again. I mean, okay, I would like to, but I'm also an only child, so it's a little complicated. I
Mhm.
can't
Mhm.
necessarily dump this on a different sibling. Not that I would want to, but I don't have the option of doing that. And then
Mhm.
filial piety and whatnot. Oh, one other thing, because I haven't moved out, and I've mentioned this about how they're very image, what's the word? I don't want to know how image focused. They just because they care a lot about how they seem or if they seem like good parents.
Mm,
Because I haven't moved out, they talk about that to other people
mm,
and say how it's good that I haven't because saving money, or they will brag about it and say, "Oh, she's not like those kids that want to move out," which is so not true.
mhm.
I've I've been aching, I've been all the words
Mhm.
to leave. And it's so frustrating just because it seems like everything I do or everything I am, it just kind of depends on whether or not it's something that you can talk about to your own advantage or
Yeah.
describe in to your own advantage, which is
Yeah.
very frustrating. So I guess there is no moral to the story, but stay tuned for
The apartment tour.
yeah, stay tuned for the announcement that I am moving out or that I
Mhm.
have moved out. Who knows? It may come sooner. Maybe I'll give up and just instigate that conflict that I was talking about.
Mhm.
I'll vlog it
Oh my
for the
god.
podcast.
Live stream it.
Oh, live stream the fire. Yeah, I actually will. I mean, no, I will not. But comment down below if you would want to watch that. If any of y'all know a nice real estate agent or person, let me know.
Yeah, please.
But like I was saying, please do not be overly concerned about me. I'm managing.
Tiffany, I am sending you a virtual hug.
Thank
Because we are
you.
not
I send you a
currently.
virtual hug too.
Thank you. It must be interesting for people listening to hear such like opposite ends of the spectrum opinions. This is like a first in FOB history. So we've been
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
we've like, or it's not like, hey, it's actually pretty much the same thing that you just said, except these
Mm-hmm.
nuanced details.
Mm-hmm.
Like this time it was completely different.
Mm-hmm. And I mean, that's great too, because
Yes.
we're only two people.
Yeah.
And how many people are there in the world? And then how many Asians are there in the world?
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
And so it's good that we have that because in our episodes where we have similar experiences, we kind of rely on outside sources
Yeah.
to reflect the different experiences, whether that be through guests or through articles or studies.
Mm-hmm.
And with us having very different experiences that are firsthand. And we hope that we can relate or resonate with people
Mm-hmm.
that have Rhianna's experience or my experience.
Mm-hmm.
I send hugs to people that have my experience. However, I also kind of hope there aren't that many people.
I feel like there are a lot of people.
There are. Trust me, there are. But
Hugs to everybody. I would like to know if people have the same experience as me because I feel like there are less people who want to move out or who don't want to move out.
Well, comment down below if you relate to Rhianna or send us a DM
Yeah.
because comments are not available on all platforms.
Mm-hmm. Shout out to our YouTube comments.
Yeah.
Big shout out.
Mm-hmm.
We love you guys.
Mm-hmm. We love y'all. We love all our listeners on across all platforms. Shout out Spotify followers.
For real.
We got actually okay, one thing I would really like to know. I mean, we see it through analytics, but I would really appreciate it if in the comments or in DM or imagine in email,
Yeah, email us.
you let us know where you're listening to us on or even from. Because like I was saying, we can see where people are from and we do get numbers on like this percentage of people listen to you on Castbox.
Mm-hmm.
This percentage of people listen to you from Japan. But when you tell us, it makes it more real and
Yeah,
personal, and we always appreciate that.
we do.
So let us
Again,
know.
shout out
Oh
with
my
your
goodness. I
comments.
would actually, okay. You know how I was saying that if y'all know a real estate person, you should let me know.
Uh-huh.
I would be very interested in hearing about people with moving out stories
Oh, yeah.
and how that was. Whether that be through a supportive background or a non-supportive background.
Mm-hmm.
Who knows? Maybe I actually will instigate that conflict. Depending on your responses. I'm half joking. I'm still contemplating. I don't know. Maybe in a few episodes later, I'll tell you what my decision is. And then a few episodes after that,
there will be
updates. I'll pop in with an update and then so on and so forth. With the holiday season, I mean, family is at the core, or is such a big centerpiece and focus of, for instance, Christmas and cozy winter night. It can be really hard for people that don't have family, period, or don't have supportive family to come back to, because the holidays are just seen as family, family, family. Wholesome, happy, jolly, merry time. And so for our listeners or friends of listeners that don't have that jolly, merry experience, we, one, send you a hug, and two, we'll be your family.
Yeah.
Let's have a virtual campfire. Let's make s'mores.
Oh my God, yes.
I've made s'mores one for a trip back in middle school, in middle school, and that was fun. Aside from the fact that I burned myself on the metal thingy, that, what was it called?
I don't even know. Just
not the cork. That's the tong.
Yeah, tong.
Or no, it's a fork. It's a fork, right? It's the,
yeah, I guess.
but it's two-pronged. Two-pronged.
Two-pronged like fork thing for people to roast marshmallows on, or like hot dogs.
Anyway, I burned myself on that. Fully my fault, because I just got a little too my hands got a little too close to that part of it. But I digress. Making s'mores was a lot of fun, and it tasted great. And I would love to gather all our listeners, especially the ones that don't really have a cozy home, to come and get cozy with us. We'll have a little campfire. We'll set up a little tree. Whether or not you celebrate Christmas, because I don't celebrate Christmas, but that doesn't mean we can't have the merry spirit. And we'll just gather together and have a good time. We'll have a virtual turkey, even though, yes, we'll celebrate Thanksgiving together too.
No.
Yeah.
We love y'all.
We really do. Genuinely. From the bottom of our heart.
Well, if you guys like this episode and want to stay connected with us, check out our website in the description. It contains links to our streaming platforms such as Spotify, Anchor, Apple Podcasts, and more. Follow us for more behind-the-scenes content, announcements, and other random things we decide to put on there.
Happy holidays, y'all. We hope you have, as much as possible, a good holiday, whether that be time with yourself or time with others. And we'll see you next time.